my lady, Miss Lauren Cummings over here. She is celebrating her 40th anniversary of her 20th birthday. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Southern novelist David Cohn once wrote that the Mississippi Delta begins here in the lobby of the Peabody Hotel, and that phrase is as true today as it has ever been. The Peabody's history began back in 1869, just a couple of blocks from here at Main and Monroe. Colonel Robert Brinkley was our founder, and he set out to build the finest hotel the Mid-South had ever seen, and name it the Brinkley House. He succeeded on that first one, of course, but just before the grand opening, his good friend, Mr. George Peabody, passed away. And Mr. Peabody was not just a good friend of the owner. He was a noted humanitarian and philanthropist, and it was in his honor that the name was changed at the last minute from the Brinkley House to the Peabody Hotel. Now, the Peabody has always stood as a symbol of Southern hospitality, and it was so at Main and Monroe until 1923. But it had been decided that we needed to expand and relocate to here, 149 Union Avenue. So after 2 years and about $5 million in construction, on September 1st, 1925, the Peabody reopened its doors to the beautiful hotel we stand in today. The Peabody has also served as a social center here on campus. We have played host to countless weddings, proms, parties, and celebrations. Many of those hosted on the beautiful Peabody rooftop, where we have a gorgeous view of downtown Memphis and the Mississippi River, as well as the Royal Duck Palace, the lavish livings of our fine feathered friends. We're hosting a private event on the rooftop tonight, so I must discourage our visit up there this evening until 7 tomorrow morning. However, I do welcome us all to visit our memorabilia room. It's up here on the mezzanine, just above the gift shop, and in there we have artifacts and stories unique to the Peabody's history. We have portraits of presidents and stars who have graced our halls. We have played host, in fact, to every president since Harry Truman here at the hotel. We have a piece of Elvis Presley's original RCA contract, which was negotiated, typed, and signed here in the lobby. And of course, it was done on our station area as well. But up there, ladies and gentlemen, we have my favorite artifact, a memo, written by our general manager regarding the menu over at Schaeferly, and explained that we could have absolutely no duck served on any menu here at the hotel. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're of course here to see the march of the Peabody Ducks, but we haven't done so before. It may surprise us to learn that our whole tradition here got started with a bit of a practical joke. Back in 1933, our general manager, Mr. Frank Scott, and his friend Chip were out hunting in Arkansas. They had brought with them, of course, some live duck decoys to help them hunt. They also happened to bring with them some Jack Daniels to help them keep warm. And the gentlemen focused a bit more on the Jack Daniels. They were quite got around to hunting, and so were surprised when they returned to the hotel and found that they had forgotten to leave their 3 English call ducks back at the farm. So they improvised, snuck the ducks into the hotel lobby, and let them loose into our fountain instead. Their deeds and the gentlemen retired to their rooms for the night, but when the general manager came down the next morning, all he was expecting to hear about were stories of the staff chasing ducks around the lobby, getting them out of the hotel, covering up the planks from the night before. But instead, he found that the ducks had stayed in the fountain the entire night long. And what's more, a crowd of guests had gathered around. They were gawking at the ducks. And the general manager went over, he apologized, said he could get this cleaned up right away. People wouldn't have to see ducks here ever again. But the people protested, said no, they loved the ducks. They then suggested that instead we let them stay as our guests. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have continued to honor that request, for we have had ducks as permanent residents here at the hotel for over 80 years. But then in 1940, we had a gentleman join us, a bellman, Mr. Edward Pembroke. Mr. Pembroke was a retired animal trainer from Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus, and he told us if given the opportunity, he could train our North American mallards to march across the rooftop, ride down the elevators, and then march down the red carpet into our lobby fountain every morning at 11 o'clock. There they would stay until 5 p.m. He could usher them out of the fountain, march them back up the red carpet, up the elevators, and back to their room. And Mr. Pembroke proposed this to management, and they were skeptical, of course. But they told him that if he could figure that out, they'd let him march ducks for as long as he'd like. Mr. Pembroke went on to march ducks with us here at the Peabody for the next 50 years. He also took the ducks all across the country. They were on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. They were featured in People magazine. He and the Ducks even made a very special guest appearance on Sesame Street for National Rubber Ducky Day. And Mr. Pembroke did so much for the hotel, but especially for our ducks, that he was named the world's first duck master. My name is Anthony. I'm actually only the 5th duck master since 1940, and in just a few moments, it will be my honor to continue our tradition here for you. To the King Cotton March, I'll usher the ducks out of the fountain. We'll march back up the red carpet, up the elevators, and back to their rooms. I do ask that if we are here by the red carpet and the entrance to the elevator, that we continue to keep those areas clear, and please resist the urge to reach out and pet the ducks. They are wild animals visiting with us after all. I ask that we do our best to remain seated here in the lobby during the march, but finally, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, please take as many flash photos as you like. You are all guests with us here today at the Peabody. This march is for you. On behalf of the ladies and gentlemen and ducks here at the hotel, I thank you all for joining us. Have a wonderful night. Thank you.
Welcome to the historic Peabody Hotel. At the center of the grand lobby, the point where the Mississippi Delta has been set again, stands the classic Peabody fountain, carved from one piece of Italian travertine marble. Although famous in its own right, the fountain is better known the world over because of its residents. If I
Girls, don't touch them, okay?
Now,
Just watch them.
you will witness a tradition begun in the 1930s at the South Grand Hotel. An experience uniquely yours as a guest of the Peabody. Preparing to return to their penthouse on the plantation roof for the night. Ladies and gentlemen, the march of the world-famous Peabody Ducks.
Saunter, very good. All right, duckies, hop on in. Let's out on seat. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, the march of the Peabody Ducks will be back tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock. Have a wonderful night.
I was way too excited about that. Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow to watch that.